Good morning everyone, I'm Alistair Ben and you're watching Expressive Photography. You join me here in the Cairngorms National Park in the Highlands of Scotland, and today I'm going to teach you the one thing that has changed my photography more than anything else, more than any piece of equipment, more than any piece of software. One thing. Good morning. It is a beautiful morning here in the Highlands of Scotland, middle of autumn. Let's get out there. So in this video I'm going to spend some time along this river here in the Cairngorms, and the thing I want to share with you is the landscape can be an incredibly chaotic place. It can be an extremely difficult place to find compositions, to engage with. It just seems incredibly overwhelming. Now I've just finished running a retreat here in the Cairngorms, and one of the most valuable things I think I shared with the participants was how to deal with busy landscapes. So I've come out this morning and I'm just starting to walk around some of the areas that I actually explored the other day, but at a slower pace. And I'm here with my trusted GFX 100 Mark II, my lovely Gitzo tripod, an Arca Swiss head, a bunch of lenses, my case filters, lots and lots of valuable equipment, but that means nothing unless this thing is tuned into this environment. So the thing I want to share with you today is this: the process of noticing something and understanding what it is that you're noticing. I've spoken a lot on this channel about the 5 triggers of luminosity, contrast, color, atmosphere, and geometry. And while they're very, very good things to get rooted into and to understand their influence on you, it doesn't help to actually find compositions. So instead, I'm going to share with you the process of noting. Now, noting is slightly different from noticing, and imagine if you were out, instead of having a camera in your hand, you had a notebook. So open that notebook in front of you and you have 2 pages. You have one on the left and one on the right. The page on the left, you just start writing down some of the things that you're noticing. So in this case, I've noticed these beautiful rocks with the water flowing over them, creating these quite incongruous shapes and dynamics. So I would write down that, cool rocks with flowing water. I also, of course, I'm going to notice the autumn colour behind me, the way the river behind me meanders up the valley. I'm going to notice that it's starting to rain. These are all things that I'm going to write down on the left-hand side of my book. On the right-hand side, I'm going to start writing down things like joyful or excited or engaged or thoughtful or reflective or melancholic. These are my attitudes, these are my emotions. And between the left-hand side of the page and the right-hand side of the page, I have my diary of me in this place. As soon as I have that, as soon as I have a list of exciting things, whether it's the way the light is reflecting off rocks or the way the foam is eddying around the currents and creating these incredible spiral shapes, whatever it is I'm noticing in the landscape, they are the things I want to point my camera at. It can be so easy to come into a scene like this and want to take it all in, to look at all of it, to shoot all of it. And that can work in many, many cases. However, you're not zoning in and you're not zoning out. So one of the cool things about noticing and making notes is that it's not just the thing that's going to trigger you to get your camera out of the bag. It's actually starting to notice when you are taking shots themselves. One of the things I've just been doing now is looking at the effect of shutter speed on the composition that I'm making. Whenever you have flowing water, a longer shutter speed, a shorter shutter speed. And this is why there's no correct shutter speed for flowing water. It just depends. So I've been using my case circular polarizer just to roll off some of the shine off the rocks. But I'm not using an ND or anything because I don't want it too slow. So it should be obvious that if we go about noting in the landscape and actually pointing our cameras at the things that we note, and whether that's a physical thing like the way the water's flowing around rocks, or the way the light is reflecting on the water, or the way the sun is coming through the backlit leaves, droplets of water on the branches, it doesn't matter what we're noticing. If we're pointing our cameras at those things, we can assume there's a certain organic nature to that. It's a very intuitive, it's a very personal way of seeing, and I think this is why it's such a powerful tool for us as we're developing. The second side of that, though, is that when we've actually taken our exposure, what we have on the back of our screens, and this is why digital photography is so amazing, we have a preview of the scene. So we are noticing what we have noted, we have taken a photograph of that, and the next stage is that little moment where you can have a point of awareness where you start noticing the frame itself. How does it sit in the frame? Is it an aspect ratio that you think is going to work for you? How the water is moving if you're photographing flowing water? Is the shutter speed delivering the look that you want it to? Or would it be better if it was slower or faster? Aspect ratios, squares, 16 by 9s. I'm fortunate with the Fuji, 65 by 24. We have all of these things that we can notice. If you choose not to do that at the time of capture, then that's okay. Sometimes it's good to be lost in the moment and not overthinking it, not overanalyzing it, but it's too late when you get home. And that is where you reach the point where is it better to take a moment in the field and start looking around the edges of the frame for little distractions or little intrusions to the frame? Is that the better time to do it? Or do you want to get home and actually realize that maybe the shutter speed was wrong, or maybe you could have composed things slightly differently? Think about that. Think about when you want to add care to your process. So there we have it, the power of noting and noticing and how it can change your photography. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've had a blast. I'm in between retreats here in the Cairngorms right now, so I've had a bit of time today to just be out on my own. And as much as I love being out there with participants, it is nice to just disappear into the landscape on your own once in a while. Some of the photographs I've really enjoyed making. I do love engaging with the landscape. I do love noticing and noting. I do love having the power to care where I point my camera, to care about little things intruding on the frame. I do hope that you can take this with you in the next time you're in the landscape and perhaps notice what you notice. Note what you notice even. If you walk through the landscape and you find yourself not noticing anything, you have to ask yourself, why is that? Is it because you have an expectation of the landscape? Is it because you feel that it's not giving you what you hoped it would? I've struggled to think of any landscape anywhere in the world that I couldn't walk through and notice something. Even if it was how desolate it is, or how barren it is, or how dry everything is. Every landscape is different. Every landscape can deliver that opportunity to notice something unique. And it's really down to your imagination and your engagement and passion that's going to deliver to you the best possible outcome from those experiences you have in the landscape. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate you tuning in every week to listen to my old man rambles. I'm Alistair Ben. This is Expressive Photography. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Jump into the comments, give me a thumbs up, click subscribe if you haven't already done so. I will tune in again for you next week, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye for now.